Hi, Vismai here, and I'd like to just share with you guys what I'm doing leading into the end of the year in the practice. Really important part of retention and setting up for next year, but spending a bit of time looking back on the year and moving forward into what the plans are for next year. So, what am I doing currently in the practice? So, beginning mid-November, I like to start reviewing the practice. So, I literally with every client, I quickly run through the year. So I'm mostly the chiropractor there. Sure, we have a locum that comes every now and then, but I'm predominantly the chiropractor, so I know what's going on with people's lives. And rather than doing reviews periodically, I just do the whole practice. They've all said kind of yes, especially the long-term loyal people that come in, repeatedly for chiropractic adjustments, independent of what symptoms they're suffering. So what I tend to do is just go through the year. Oh, you went to this holiday, you had your car accident then. You had the birth of your second baby then, your mother died, or something personal around what happened in their life and how that affected their body, the rhythm that we were on. So I do kind of get personal. It doesn't take long. I've got an open plan adjusting room. I'm not a high volume guy. I see 6 people per hour, but I've got plenty of time just to touch base with the client and just review the year. And then I do like to get an agreement. So moving forward with the client, I like to get an agreement on the scheduling for next year. So I might say, oh, look, Mrs. Smith, you've been coming in every 2 weeks. How's that working out for you? Shall we continue on that schedule, or would you like to come more frequently? If I feel like they're in a real stressful time, I might suggest that. Or if things are getting a little easier, I might suggest, or you prefer to come every 3 weeks. I really just like to set up that agreement for that next year. And you can do that with people that have been under care for a couple of years. It's quite normal for them to make a commitment. But I do notice the people that I get a commitment from, even just verbally, they tend to kind of commit to that for next year. And then some people might say, so I've had that a bit this week where, oh, look, I've been coming every 2 weeks, but I'm going to try and come once a month now. And so with that, it's quite a big decrease in their frequency of scheduling, and it's their body, so it's their choice. And I love, people have autonomy anyway. They have agency in their healing journey, and frequency is a part of that, how often they come. So I do say to them, look, well, let's try that for 6 months. And if I feel that your body's not keeping up with what life's throwing at it, we can always alter the frequency then. So, okay, let's go with once a month for the next 6 months. What else am I doing in the year? So in the practice at the moment, we kind of review the year of the practice. So we tend to go back through our metrics. Our metric and our dashboard's very, very simple. We've just got 6 metrics that we measure, and we do it on a quarterly frequency. Sure, at the end of each week, I know generally what my income is, how many clients I saw, but actually the quarterly change is quite important in a high retention office. So we just look back through our 4 quarters and just have a look at the metrics. So we always like to see what's the total revenue for the quarter, what's the total number of consults seen. We've got our own definition for consults. How many new people have we seen in that quarter? Now from those 3 metrics, you can work out your average client visit, so how much each adjustment on average is, with all varied things together. What does it come down to on an average? We can work out our PVA, so how many times is the average person coming into the practice? And the final metric that we all land on is the lifetime value, the LTV. So we just like to see that this is going north each quarter. And when that really gets traction, it's got a very strong sense of stability and traction. It makes planning holidays a lot easier. It makes predicting my revenue a lot easier. And it just gives a lot of stability to the practice. So they're the 6 metrics we use. What else are we looking at? So this is a great time of the year. If you haven't raised your prices for the last couple of years, it's a really healthy business acumen to do this around this time. So what I like with price increases, we tend to shy away from them. When I first started chiropractic, I hardly did any price increases. I was so nervous I always used to say to myself, I'll just build the numbers and that's the way the practice will grow, but I won't increase the prices. And it's, you need to do and actually. So we're going to raise our prices from $110 to $120 per visit, and just the same sort of rise in the packages that we sell. So we do give people a notice, like starting mid-November, we sort of tell everybody January 1st we're going to have a new price point. We give them a chance to buy a package on the same on the pricing for this year so that they get a bit of a bonus that stretches into next year. That often creates a small balloon of income for us. Our CA likes that because she can, essentially offer people who've been coming in for a while a nice discount. By the way, if you're watching this YouTube film before January 10, I'll be giving a free webinar where we'll be really getting a group of chiropractors together and chew the fat over retention, and I'll be sharing you the 6-month rinse and repeat vortex rhythm that we use as a way to create engagement in our office beyond the rhythm of their adjustments. So if you'd like to learn more about that, there's a link down beneath. You can just click on it to register, and I'd love to see you on the call. Coming in for a while, a nice discount. I like to look back at the newsletters that I had this year and how well they were used, what effectiveness they had, and which ones were the most adopted, which ones were the most shared in WhatsApp groups, or which ones actually had the most reactivating power, because we email our quarterly newsletter to our inactive email list once a quarter, and then some of those emails reactivate a lot and some just kind of have a real belly flop and we hardly get any things coming out of it. So I have a look at those. I also like to, with the individual client, if I know they've sent a family member or a friend, I just let them know, thanks for trusting me. I don't take that lightly. So I always just like to take that moment to thank them for sending people our way. And so I've been giving a t-shirt to the clients. This is just something we had made up on Bali, a chiropractor t-shirt. So I've just been giving that to my favorite clients at the end of each adjustment, and everybody's really been appreciating that. So there's kind of a nice vibe happening in the practice. We also started this kind of Christmas kind of thing with our free adjusting day. So once a year we go to India and we distribute school uniforms for children that would otherwise need to leave school. And once a year we have a free adjusting day, and people can come in and they can pay whatever they like for the adjustment, and 100% of that money goes to the children in India. So we had that, and that also just brings a really nice atmosphere into the practice, because you'll notice actually if you're doing these sorts of things that a lot of your clients, they are philanthropic in some way. They're either donating time at the children's sports club or their own local church, or they're volunteering at your kid's school in working bees, or they're sponsoring children in Africa to go to school or something, or they're Greenpeace, whatever rocks their world, they're often doing it. So it kind of brings in a really nice gentle softness around the end of the year. And then for me personally, what am I doing? So personally, I like to reflect on what I achieved this year, what I'm over, what I don't want to do anymore, and what I'd like to move forward to into next year. So they're the 3 questions I just linger. Let's call it a lingering thought. I do have them on a whiteboard that's at the back of the office, and I just kind of just let my mind scattered focus. So it's not like this ultra focused thing that sits down, but it's just okay, I've achieved this year. These are the things that I did do this year that I really don't like doing and I don't want to do, and these are the people that I really don't make me feel good when I'm around, and then I like to move on to next year. What are we going to achieve? So to do that, I really like having a big 12-month calendar, and this gives a really nice overview of the year. What it helped me do with my CA was it helps us plug into the rhythms of the city. If you time your holidays incorrectly, for example, for us, the city just goes dead at Chinese New Year. There's nobody in Singapore. At least there's nobody doing anything but family activities. So it's really easy for me to take a holiday then without having any impact on the practice, really. But if I take my holiday when everybody's just returning from practice, it's a big problem. And because we don't have school-aged children anymore, we're kind of out of the rhythm of that. So we bring out the big map, we make all the school holidays, we get all that jotted down, and we just tailor our own travel things around that so as to have minimal impact on the practice. What else do we do? I do like to review my CA's performance, Verena. So she's been our only CA actually since starting the practice 6 years ago now. So we like to look back on her performance this year, especially in relationship to the Vortex tools. How is she developing her mastery? We've had a great thing this year in Singapore because we're coaching with a rather large practice group in Singapore, and Verena's really helping with the CA training. So in doing that, though, she's really increased her own nuances and her own skill at helping me grow the practice from the front desk. So I'm a big believer in putting tools in the CA's hands to act as prompts to help them build the practice, because without tools, you've got to rely on personality or their A game or their rapport. having tools and getting them distributed into your community really helps the CAs stay on point with chiropractic care and increasing internal referrals at that front desk. What else are we doing? Oh yeah, the last thing I like to do, because a lot of people leave Singapore at the end of the year, we've got this thing called a Hall of Fame, and essentially that's our favourite clients, and that's up in the back kitchen of the office. And I just like to review that and keep that up to date. That's our Hall of Fame. That's our top 10% of our top 20% of clients are on that Hall of Fame. They've really raised their hands and adopted chiropractic care. But what we do if they've left Singapore, we just pop them over to an inactive group. So that's something I do like to keep up to date. I find having faces cut out on a wall somewhat more personal and more humanistic almost, that I can relate with, as opposed to having numbers and lists and telephone numbers and emails on a spreadsheet. I really like just looking at a person's face. Maybe that's a bit old-fashioned, but I really do like that. The last thing I like to do for next year is just to prepare our activities. I love getting my community together, but the community event and the community challenges take quite a bit of preparation. So we've done for 25 years, we did a juice cleanse. The last 3 years, we've done an intermittent fasting cleanse. But next year, we're going to do a step count challenge. We're going to do twice a year, where we're going to do 50,000 steps in 5 days challenge. And we're going to be finishing that at the office with the community together and have a free open day for family and friends. So that's going to take a bit of preparation. And that's kind of it for the year. We're off to India now with about 15 other chiropractors. To adjust some school children and parents and teachers around the local area. And that'll be just a time to get ready for the year. It's really my favourite week of the year, actually. It still is. We've been doing it every year since 2014. And looking into those school children's eyes in rural India, with families living on less than $1 a day, it's really something super compassionate. It's such a compassionate start to my year that keeps me as a chiropractor just grounded in reality and just being grateful for the life that we get to live, you know. In saying that, those kids are often way happier than us with all our mod cons in the Western world anyway. So that's it for the year. If you're interested at all in joining my coaching group, we're starting on January 18 for the year. It's a year-long commitment. There's a link underneath in the description. If you're watching this film way after January 18, you can get on a quick call with me anyway. But we're getting into a nice 12-month commitment to get your practice retention ready for next year and get the structure ready set up. Okay, enjoy the Christmas, everybody.